My Airbnb host knocked at 3 a.m. and whispered through the door, "Get out now! He's already here!" I jolted awake in the darkness, my heart immediately racing. The knocking came again, more urgent. "Sir, please, you need to leave through the window. Don't open this door." It was Gerald, the elderly man who owned this remote lake house I'd rented for a fishing weekend. I'd met him yesterday during check-in. He seemed like a typical retired guy, showed me where the boat was docked and warned me the water heater took forever. But now his voice was trembling with terror. I grabbed my phone and crept toward the door. "Gerald, what's going on?" Through the door, I heard him breathing hard like he'd been running. "There's a man in the main house. He has a gun. I saw him break in through my kitchen window 10 minutes ago. I managed to slip out the back, but he's going to check the guest cabin next." "That's you." My blood turned to ice. I was in the middle of nowhere, 2 hours from the nearest town, at a lake house with no neighbors for miles. "Did you call the police?" I asked, already moving toward the bedroom and grabbing my jeans. "Yes, but they said 40 minutes minimum. He'll find you before then. Please just go. There's a hiking trail behind the cabin that leads to the main road." I could hear the raw fear in Gerald's voice. I shoved my feet into my shoes, grabbed my wallet and keys, and opened the bedroom window as quietly as possible. The cool night air hit my face as I climbed out, my hands shaking. I landed in the grass and crouched low. That's when I saw him. A figure moving between the main house and my cabin, maybe 50 yards away, carrying something that reflected in the moonlight. A weapon. Gerald had been right. I had maybe 60 seconds before he reached my cabin door. I spotted Gerald's silhouette near the tree line, frantically waving me toward him. I ran in a low crouch, my heart hammering. Every snap of a twig sounded like a gunshot. I reached Gerald just as I heard the cabin door crash open behind us. "He's inside," Gerald whispered, grabbing my arm and pulling me deeper into the woods. We moved as quickly as we dared through the darkness, branches scratching my face. Behind us, I could hear the man shouting, his voice angry and slurred. He sounded drunk or high. We kept running until we reached a small clearing where Gerald stopped to catch his breath. He was in his 70s and couldn't keep this pace. "Why is he here? Who is he?" I asked between gasps. Gerald's face crumpled. "My son, Dennis. He's been in and out of rehab for years. Drugs, mostly meth. He shows up demanding money, threatening me if I don't give it to him." The pieces clicked together. "You've been dealing with this before?" Gerald nodded miserably. "Last month, he broke 3 of my windows. Police keep arresting him, but he always gets out. I got a restraining order, but it doesn't stop him. Tonight, he must have run out of money. I heard him screaming about me hiding cash in the house. When I saw him break in with that gun, I knew I had to warn you. We heard crashing sounds from the cabin, like furniture being overturned. Dennis was tearing the place apart. "My car is at the cabin," I said, feeling trapped. Gerald pulled out his phone and showed me the text from dispatch. Officers were 25 minutes away. We moved deeper into the woods, following what Gerald said was an old logging road. My legs were shaking from adrenaline. After about 15 minutes, we heard sirens in the distance. We carefully made our way back toward the property, staying hidden in the tree line. We could see Dennis now, illuminated by the porch light, pacing back and forth with a pistol in his hand. He was shouting incoherently, his movements jerky and unstable. 3 police cars came screaming up the driveway with lights flashing. Officers jumped out, weapons drawn, shouting commands for Dennis to drop the gun. For a terrifying moment, I thought he might shoot. Instead, he dropped the pistol and collapsed onto his knees, sobbing. The officers swarmed him, handcuffing him while he screamed about how everyone had abandoned him. One officer found us in the woods and escorted us back. They'd found evidence Dennis had ransacked both the main house and my cabin, destroying furniture looking for money. The gun was loaded with a round chambered. The officer told us quietly that if we'd still been in that cabin when Dennis arrived, this could have ended very differently. Dennis was arrested on multiple charges, including armed burglary, terroristic threats, and violating a restraining order. They found meth in his pockets. Gerald broke down crying as they put his son in the police car, apologizing to me over and over. I spent the rest of the night at the police station giving my statement. Gerald sat beside me looking 20 years older. He refunded my entire stay and offered additional compensation, but I was just grateful to be alive. The police said based on Dennis's behavior and the weapon, they believed he'd been in a psychotic episode from the drugs. If Gerald hadn't seen him break in and hadn't warned me immediately, I would have been trapped in that cabin with no escape. The prosecutor charged Dennis with attempted kidnapping and armed home invasion since I was a paying guest. Gerald called me 2 weeks later to tell me Dennis had been denied bail and was facing 15 to 25 years. The judge cited his escalating violence as reason to keep him locked up until trial. Gerald sounded devastated, but relieved his son couldn't hurt anyone else for a while. He admitted he'd been terrified to rent out the cabin because of Dennis, but he needed the income after Dennis had drained his savings. That night had been his worst fear realized. I still have nightmares about seeing that figure moving with the gun, knowing I had seconds to escape. Gerald's quick thinking and willingness to risk his own safety to warn a stranger saved my life. He could have just hidden and waited for police, but he made sure I got out first.